Hey there, I'm Melissa from the blog hymnsandhome.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really easy rag rug from whatever materials you can find around your house. A rag rug is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a rug made from literally rags and scraps of material that you can dig up from around your house. The idea of a rag rug has been around a long time, and there are probably a lot of different ways to do it, but today I'm just going to show you how to use a crochet hook to do it really quickly and simply. You can use anything from t-shirts to old bed sheets, pillowcases. Do check with your husband before you steal his plaid shirt though. Yeah, so whatever material you can find from around your house, it could even be like sewing scraps or whatever, and just whatever color scheme you're going for in your rug, those are the types of materials that you're going to want to gather. So just gather up as much as you can find, and then we're going to cut it into strips. So for this project, besides rags, you're also going to need some sewing scissors, or I'm actually going to use a cutting mat and a rotary cutter, just because it makes the work a lot simpler. You'll also need a very large crochet hook. I think this is probably an M size or an N size, but you can use whatever size works for you. It just depends on how thickly you cut your strips and how thick your material is, but I think this one works pretty well. So those are really the only things you need. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to do is lay out your fabric. I'm going to lay mine out on my cutting mat. And if you want to use some sort of straight edge to make sure you get your pieces uniform, you can do that. But I am not going to worry about it because honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference. As long as you have all of your strips fairly uniform, meaning like not one super thick and one super thin, it's gonna look just fine. I like to go for probably like an inch to an inch and a half wide on my strips. I'm just gonna cut right along there. So you can see I just cut that into a strip that's about an inch and a half wide or so, and you're just gonna do a bunch of those. I love this material. Isn't that so pretty? It actually came from an old skirt. I bought it from a thrift store. It wasn't old, it was like a modern day skirt, but I bought it from a thrift store thinking I would wear it. It was actually a dress at the time. And I didn't realize that it was one-shouldered, and I just don't do like one-shouldered things. So then I thought, okay, well, I'll just cut the top off of it and turn it into a skirt. And then it totally just went downhill from there, and now it is fabric. So there you go. All right, so once you have a bunch of strips cut out, you are just going to tie them together. So you're going to take your ends, and you're going to do the old right over left, left over right, just to help the knot sit a little more flat. Just going to tie it in a knot. This is just a double knot. It comes out like that. And this little part sticking up, don't worry about that at all. That's going to be on the back side of our rug, and you'll pretty much never see it. And then once you have a bunch of these, you might want to just roll them up into a ball so that they don't become unruly and get all tangled up. I know I just showed you how to cut the material and tie it together on a floral fabric, but for the sake of it being easier for you to look at, I'm going to use some white fabric just to show you how to stitch. So the first thing you're going to need to do is make a slip knot. Now, if you're not familiar with how to make a slip knot, you have a long side and a short side here. You're going to take your pieces. You're just going to cross over once, like that. I literally just turned it. Stick my fingers through, grab the long side, and pull. That's how you make a slip knot. I'll do it one more time. Long side and short side. And cross. Grab the long side and pull it tight. That's a slip knot. We're going to put our crochet hook through the slip knot, and you want to keep this all pretty loose. You don't want it to be super tight, but just tighten it a little bit just so it's snug. And then we are going to do what's called chaining. We're going to make a chain. So you're going to take your long side here. You're going to wrap it once around your crochet hook like this, and you're going to use your hook to pull it through the first loop. just like that. Now you've made one chain, and we're going to do that 2 more times. Now don't worry about this little tail sticking up. That'll go toward the back. We're going to wrap around and pull it through the loop. We're going to do that one more time. Around and pull it through the loop. Now we've just chained 3. Now we are going to connect our chain into a loop. So you see I have 3 holes here now. Got 3 holes, and I am going to stick my crochet hook through this first hole right here. So I'm going to go into that first hole. Okay, so now I have 2 loops on my crochet hook, right? And I am going to wrap my string around and pull it through that first hole. And then I'm going to wrap around again. I'm going to pull it through both. This is called a single crochet. And we have just connected our chain into a circle. And this is going to be the center of our rug. We are going to continue working in single crochets for the entire rug, working around and around and around in a circle, but we will need to add in some stitches along the way. Now we have a ring with a big hole in the middle. So what we're going to do next is we're going to insert our crochet hook into the center hole, right through the center, and we're going to work in single crochets around the ring. So we're going to do the same thing we did before, which is yarn around, or yarn over as they say, pull through the center hole. So now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn around, and pull through both, like that. So you're going to keep doing that around the ring. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. So just however many it takes to get back to your starting point here around the loop. So now we have something that looks like that, just single crochets around the center loop. The next step is to work in our single crochets. So I don't know, hopefully you can see this. Each single crochet has these 2, it makes a V. Okay, so it's this from the side. So you can see that hole from the side, and it looks like a V on top. There are two strings. I am going to put my crochet hook through both of those. So it looks like a V. Okay, we're going to do yarn over, pull it through the V, yarn over, and pull it through both loops. That's another single crochet. And we're going to continue doing that all the way around, except we will need to add in some stitches, because if we don't, our rug is going to start to just form a tube. So we're going to have to expand as we go around. All right, so we just did 2 single crochets in each spot. Now we're going to go around again, and this time you should probably only need to do like 2 single crochets in one spot, 1 single crochet in the next, 2, then 1, 2, then 1, just alternating, because you probably don't need 2 in every spot. So we're just going to keep going around. And it's really fun to see this expand as you keep going. It works up very quickly. And again, don't worry about all these little pieces sticking up. You can tuck them back in later. The underside will start to look like this. All right, so I'm going to work 2 in this spot, 1 in the next spot. I'm keeping it very loose. 2 in this spot. 1 in the next spot. Start to get something like that. So after you work around and around long enough, might end up with something starting to look like that. At any point, you can change your rag material. So all you have to do is just cut off the strip that you're currently working with and tie on a new fabric. I actually prefer not to tie all my strips together at the same time because I like to just kind of go with the flow and change out my fabric color and pattern as I want to. So I might tie up, a bunch of white and then work this center section up, and then I might incorporate some of this green and then switch back to white. So really just however you want to do it. And if you wanted to, you could actually stop at this point and make trivets. Wouldn't that be fun to just make little crocheted rag trivets like that? So you can see I stopped short here on the white, and I'm going to tie in some of this green. I'm just going to do my right over left, left over right, this, and then I will just keep working in single crochet stitch. You're always working from right to left in crochet. I love that green floral pattern with the white. It's just so pretty. You get an underside that looks something like this with all the little raggy bits coming off. That's kind of cool too. Just keep going until your rug is as big as you want or until you run out of material. When you're ready to tie it off, just trim your material to a little nub like this. And all you're going to do is you're going to put it through the last loop and pull to tie it into a knot. And then you can tuck this, trim this shorter, and then just tuck it into your rug. You can use your crochet hook, it helps. You can find a written tutorial and detailed photos over on the blog, which is www.hymnsandhome.com. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider giving it a thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button for more modern cottage living, decor and DIY, vintage and thrifting. Thanks so much for watching.